Good afternoon, world. It's March 29th, 2025,
No, it's not.
March 29th, 2025. And this
It's
is,
April 1st.
it is April 1st. It was an April 1st joke. It is episode number 52.
Yep.
All righty. And I'm Jeff Lynch. This is our man Scott at the board. Scott here.
Sammy
Sammy at the
there.
board. Great and good news. Let's go.
All right, you ready?
Yep.
Yeah, well, sorry for running a little bit late today. We're on the go for sure. But we're as usual, we're happy to be here. Happy you're here. We have a lot to talk about as usual. I say that every single time, but the world is never going to stop, never has, never will. These are crazy times in which we live. Jeff and I are here. Grit and Good News is here every Tuesday and Thursday from noon to 1 o'clock. We are watching as our show numbers continue to grow rapidly, exponentially. We're very pleased with that. This is not necessarily a numbers game. If for us, if it were, we'd be talking about every salacious thing we could think of in the country. There's plenty of that.
Salacious.
Yeah,
Nice
so
word
we're
choice
not we're
today.
not here to do that. We're here to talk about authentically talk about honest, accurate, pure, good, helpful information. Some of it's a little bit salacious because that's what it is. But we're not going to hype on that and try to take advantage of it. But our numbers are growing and we're thrilled about that. Hey, Terry, hope all is well with you. Today is April Fool's Day, and I'm getting, emails from, I just got an email from one of the golf places I buy a lot of stuff from, and it said, uh, check out our site today, 100% discount. And I thought, no, I didn't even think April Fool's at first, but I thought, well, there's going to be a catch there. You got to pay $1,000 to be a member or something, and then
Have you
everything's
never
gone.
been any place that said free beer or hamburgers tomorrow?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
that's one
classic.
time in Buffalo. Buffalo and the Cowboys used to have a rivalry, and back in the Super Bowl days, I remember the first year I was in Buffalo, I put up this long memo back when we wrote memos,
Right.
hard copy, and I said, look, it says essentially the essence of it was, look, everybody, I'm a big Dallas Cowboy fan. I'm born and raised in Dallas, blah blah blah. I would appreciate, with that said, I'd appreciate going forward that you refrain from saying anything negative about the Dallas Cowboys. You do not harp on the Dallas Cowboys. You do not make fun of the Dallas, blah, 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 because it will hurt my feelings. And then at the very end, I said, now, if you'll simply go back and find the first letter of every sentence in this memo, you will see the joke's on you. And it
What did that
said
spell?
April Fool's Day.
April Fool's Day.
Yeah, so that was pretty funny. And some of
You
them
know, you
were
know, it was
lined up, ready to come and get me. Like, how dare can you come in here and say we can't talk bad about the Cowboys?
interesting that you say used to have a rivalry. They were
Yeah,
Super Bowl foes, and
2 years
wasn't
in a row.
2 years in a row.
Yeah,
And did Leon Lett take back a long fumble?
that was in the Thanksgiving Day
Oh,
game.
he
Oh,
did
no, no, no.
on that one
Leon
too.
Lett, um, Don Beebe of the Bills got a fumble, was running it all the way back, and at the very last minute, as he was about to cross the goal line to score, Leon Lett, uh, or
Him
maybe,
there.
yeah, Leon Lett slapped the ball out of his hand.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll never forget that.
I was at that Thanksgiving game.
Oh,
Oh
were
my
you?
gosh.
That snow? Yeah. So anyway, thank you for being here. Again, we got a lot to talk about. I want to start by saying we apologize for what happened last Thursday. We had just had an outage. I know KBEC had some issues too that night, but we just had an outage, and so we ended at 41 minutes. So we apologize for that. We were on a roll. We're loving that show. It's a great time. So we apologize for that. Good old Spectrum. But I don't think that's going to happen again. It shouldn't happen again. If they're going to go down, they might as well go down at like 105, not at 12, 40. So anyway, apologize for that. I want to mention to you that on Thursday, we are going to start giving away Scarborough, I can never say that, Scarborough Fair tickets.
How are you on Scarborough Fair?
Huh?
1 to 10. You like it?
No. Well, you know what I call it, don't I? think I've told you
No,
that.
but I'm sure it's a good name. I like.
Uh,
I can't wait.
uh, Walmart Woodstock,
Well, that's very good.
isn't it?
That's
Tell me
very
I'm
good.
wrong.
No, no, no. That's beyond good.
I'm,
That's beyond good.
I don't have
I've
any.
never caught on to it.
Well, I don't have it. Hey, Jonna.
I
Hey,
think I was to
Isaac.
one once at a Minnesota version in the early '80s,
Yeah,
and it hadn't changed. It's
it's
based
just
on what is it? 1400s, 1500s? What time are
yeah,
those?
1600, something in that area. But the thing about it is every character you can think of is there. I'm talking about just normal, like you'd see at Walmart. Uh,
Oh, right.
it's the Walmart Woodstock. But
Oh,
those actual characters that dress up in that Renaissance gear, do you know that they have a rule that if they're in that gear, no matter where they are, they have to speak that way. So if they go to lunch
wow.
or they have to go into Target after the fair, they talk with anybody, they got to act and speak that way. I guess,
They do have a lot of beer,
yeah.
and they got wenches with the boost 'em
Oh yeah,
uppers.
yeah. They can have their dinner right there in their chest. Um, so anyway, Scarborough Fair tickets. So starting Thursday, and then we'll continue it on for as long as we have the tickets, and we
All
got a
right.
lot of them. So
Maybe at free I could
that's
give it
some
a
fun.
try.
What's that?
Maybe at free I could give it a
You know,
try
the
again.
the most fun I had there, I've
Tell
only
me.
been there once. I took Sammy. Matter of fact, when we got there, a dressed up nun grabbed a hold of Sammy, and I'm like, thank goodness, see what you can do with him. He was 8, but is the stand or the little area where you can buy tomatoes, like 6 tomatoes for $1.
And throw them at somebody?
Yeah, the guy in the booth that's making fun of you. But the
Oh,
problem is the tomatoes are
soft
it's all
and it
falling apart. So it gets about 2/3 of the way
and it
to him.
goobers all over your hand
It
too.
does
Yeah.
because
Yeah. Yeah.
I did it, but you couldn't get it, so it hit him in the face. But anyway, so enough of that. All right, today is the 52nd episode. Did you have a chance to do your numbers?
Yeah, I did, and again, they're scarce. This is tough finding stuff at this.
I know I can think
It,
of one and only. The only one I can think of is
the
obvious to me.
only one you could think.
Football. Baltimore Ravens.
Ray Lewis,
Ray Lewis.
17 years, same team,
Really, 17. Wow.
and in the stats, this, that, or the other, there's tackles, and then there's assisted tackles, and he's number one all time in combined tackles. That is a pretty huge number,
Yeah,
wouldn't
it
you say?
is.
I mean,
Yeah. Remember what happened when that Super Bowl of 2000 when he was accused of murder,
I was thinking
accessory
about
to
that when
murder?
down in Atlanta, wasn't it?
Yep. And he came to that press conference dressed like a pimp. I can't think of any other word. A big old white fur coat, a white furry
Yeah, yeah.
fedora looking hat.
Didn't the Ravens at that time have a little bit of a uh, dark, badass whole vibe and
Yeah, they
mentality
did.
and look? Right.
Yeah, they did, but they won that game via their defense. It was when Trent
Yeah,
Dilfer was the quarterback and Brian Billick was their head coach.
gotcha.
Yeah.
All right,
Who else?
I got Adam Foote
Yeah, for the Avalanche.
for the Avalanche, who were originally before they became the Colorado Avalanche. They moved from a
Nordiques.
major.
No.
Yeah,
Oh,
yes.
Nordiques. Yeah.
The what Nordiques?
Ottawa.
Sorry, Quebec.
Quebec. Yeah, that's it.
Quebec
Yeah.
Nordiques.
Yeah.
And then we got the great, I associate him mostly with Yankees, CC Sabathia.
Sabathia. Good one.
Isn't that a
Where
good
else
one?
did he play?
I didn't do the full research there either.
Cleveland.
Cleveland, the
That's where he
mistake
got
on the
started.
lake. Okay.
Terry says, let touch the field goal by the line. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, yeah. I was there. I was there.
Crazy
That day was the
moron.
beginning of the end of my first marriage, but that's a
Oh, well,
whole another story.
yeah, that's a whole nother show.
Wow.
All right. Other things in the update, March Madness. I am here to tell you boys and everybody watching that my little pygmy bracket that we did last Thursday, as it relates to the Final Four, which we're going to redo this coming Thursday, I have got the right Final Four. I chose the right Final Four. I didn't choose the right Sweet 16. I missed 2, but I've got Auburn, Florida, Duke, Houston, and I'm going to wait and tell you on Thursday who I got to win it all.
I got I got one of them right. I got Florida.
Florida playing.
I have
Who did you have?
I have Florida playing Michigan
Okay.
to go to the final.
And then one on the other side.
Kentucky versus Bama.
Oh
I
yeah.
had
Bama
Bama.
just didn't show up.
Yeah.
You know,
Bama.
Oh, go ahead.
Bama went from setting a record 25 threes, and our star player had 37 points, something like that. And then the next 2 nights later, we could have beat them, the 3 of us.
I'm limping home with Ole Miss,
Mm.
Tech,
Uh,
Kentucky, and Duke. So when you only get 1 out of 4, you really want Duke to win it.
yeah,
You
yeah.
really,
Duke,
I really need Duke to win that, man.
Duke is stout. But in your team, Tech should have won that game. They should have won. They were up.
Mhm.
They lost to Tennessee.
No, they lost to Ole Miss. No, who was it?
I don't remember. But yeah, they were up. They were up big.
Yeah, they were. I don't remember who it was now, but anyway,
Maryland.
Maryland. Was that it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It might have been.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Who I had in that game, Maryland.
so we'll update that on Thursday. I also want to mention to you that we'll have more in weeks to come because I think the Supreme Court is going to get this immigration case soon. And if that Supreme Court goes with Trump, I'm telling you, it's going to be either way. It's going to be Katie bar the door for somebody. But if the SCOTUS says Trump under that law, that Aliens Act from 1700 to whenever it was, can shift these people back, the planes are not going to stop. The planes are going to be filled with these thugs, and I hope that's what happened, but we'll see. Terry says Duke's going to take it all. Jonna says Florida. Chuck says 3 or 4. Right, good, Chuck.
And we got a good morning to Isaac still.
Yeah, I mentioned that, and then so I want to also mention to you, I just read a story this morning about a poll that shows how politics is more than ever in the history of this poll and in terms of shopping is dramatically affecting the way people shop. So we're going to talk about that in the weeks to come. All right, so there you go. Sammy's going to play a video for you because I swear I've been saying it for years now that Waxahachie and Ellis County, by extension, is and has been immune, by the grace of God, has been immune from the ills and the the awful behaviors that are going on in the rest of the country. We right now, knock on wood, we don't have a Tesla store here, but we haven't had any reports of Tesla owners being sabotaged or being damaged or threatened. We don't have people burning things down. We don't have a lot up until what you're about to see, which was in the past week or two. We have not had the issue of transgendered people, uh, teachers, and others. But we now have our first case, which has gone national out of Red Oak, of a teacher who before Christmas was named. I wrote his name down here. Zachary Sandry. Before Christmas, that was his name. He came back after Christmas as Rosie, and Sammy's going to play you a video of Rosie from yesterday. Go ahead, Sam.
Hi, everybody. It's Rosie, transgender goddess, and I have a few things to catch you all up on because it's been a crazy week. It seems I have garnered a bit of infamy. I went viral. How crazy is that? So, here's what happened. Wednesday of last week, one of my TikTok videos was discovered by this hate group, whose name I will not waste my breath saying. They pinned my video to the top of their X account. At its peak, it had 3 million views. The comments were overloaded with transphobic nonsense and calls for me to be terminated from my job. Not long after it was posted on their X page, the ISD where I work also began to get flooded with hate mail, as well as all of my personal accounts, my email accounts, and my email account through the school. Over the last week, I have been the victim of a huge harassment campaign by thousands of online trolls who have sent me messages telling me to unalive myself, throwing transphobic slurs at me, throwing my dead name in my face, and threatening to harm me. And now, the dust is beginning to settle, and I am on the other side of it. I am going to tell my story. I am not going to close down this page. You will hear from me 2 to 3 times a day, every day, for as long as I have breath in my lungs.
Yeah, maybe a lot.
You want to see the trans girl joy posts? They will be here every single morning on this account. This will not stop me. It may end my career. I may lose my job, but what I will not lose is my conviction. What I will not lose is my knowledge that I am exactly who I am supposed to be. I am a woman. I am a proud trans woman. My name is Rosalind, and I have not changed my mind. I am here, and I will continue to speak out. I will tell you more of my story when I am able to, but I wanted to talk to you all right now just to let you know that I am not going away. And if you want to follow me or continue following me, you will hear my story every single day in my full voice. I will not
That's good.
be scared into silence.
So there's Rosie. I want to make a couple of observations, and certainly you all watching can offer your comments. I'd be interested in those. And Jeffrey, if you want to say, but let me just start by saying I don't advocate that we uh, pile on people who are suffering with issues. When I see videos like this, what I translate them or interpret them to be really is a cry for help. Um, this guy, by every account we can think of, and the Waxahachie Sun, we've reached out to the Red Oak School District. They will not respond to us, so we'll have a story tomorrow morning in the Sun. But so I'm not here to advocate that we jump all over this guy. And so I'm not. But I will say that in this video, beyond the obvious, which is this is a young man who, if you looked at pictures before, Christmas,
Have you seen him?
yeah, he was just an ordinary guy, a handsome fella, ordinary guy by many accounts that we've seen on social media. The kids like him. And then he comes back as what you see here. He says his name is Rosalind. He goes by Rosie. But he says he's a victim. He says he's a victim of the company that he pointed to, or the group that he pointed to up above. I can't remember the name of that group, but he calls it Libs of TikTok, which outs these people. Libs of TikTok's one of the biggest, one of the biggest followings on TikTok.
Scott, I could not. I saw it twice. I couldn't follow. Did he get back and actually teach a few classes after Christmas, or did he get canned somewhere in
No,
between?
came back and he taught. As of a second video that we saw yesterday, I didn't want to overwhelm everybody with these videos. He does not say that he was terminated, but he talks and cries and says directly that he doesn't know what he's going to do now.
So he
He
does
does not have a
come back
job.
as
But he does not have a
Rosie.
job now.
Rosie.
Yeah, he came back as Rosie,
Well,
and he does not have a job. So it doesn't.
why are we not hearing from like a million kids that were in his class?
Well,
saying, "Oh,
they're on the social media. That's when we're
Yeah.
hearing. That's how we would hear from them. So our newsroom is looking at those, and
mhm,
by and large, those comments from those students, kids,
yeah,
are
whatever."
positive. They love him,
Mhm.
and I get that. We all have our favorite teachers, but at the same time, the school district, and we can't get confirmation from the school district as to whether he was terminated or he resigned. When you listen to that video I'm referring to, it sounds pretty 99.99% sure to me that he was terminated. So he is no longer at the school, as Lisa Aikens says here, uh, and his name is Zachary Sandry. He goes by, if you notice the way I say it there, he goes by Rosie. Congressman, State Representative Brian Harrison has
And
contacted
I
Red Oak.
referred to him as going there. I didn't really.
What's that?
Well, his name is Zachary. Please don't appease him. I didn't call him Zachary. I didn't call him Rosie. I said he referred to
He goes.
himself as Rosie.
Yeah, that's
so.
what. But in our story tomorrow, our editor and I had a rather lengthy discussion about this, and that is what do we refer to him as? He says in that video we just watched that he's now a woman. He is a woman. He is not a woman. He can call himself a woman, just like we had a segment last week.
He's step one on a marathon.
Yeah, if he takes it that far.
To
But
get to there.
Didn't we just have a discussion last week in one of our segments of the board member out on the West Coast, West Coast, that identifies as a turtle? So he's not a turtle, just like this guy
Right.
isn't a woman, but they can refer to themselves whatever they want to, just like you and I can, Sammy can. So he is no longer employed at the school. The students appear, just by the sample size of those that we saw, to like him, love him. We'll miss him in the other video. One of the videos I saw of him, he's crying because he didn't get a chance. Just that's another way of knowing that he got terminated. He didn't get a chance to say goodbye or have a proper proper exit, that kind of thing. But it's just 7 miles up the road now that we have this issue, and it has gone viral. It's gone across the country. Part of it is because he's done this, and I was referring to our editor and I having a discussion about how do we refer to him in our story tomorrow. Well, you're going to see, for those watching, you're going to see, as will our readers will read, that we refer to him as a he, because that's what he is. And we're not going to play a game. We're not going to fall into this trap of, being in any way woke. Here's the other thing I'll say is that, I remember our Sunday school class, we were having a discussion about loving people.
Mm-hmm.
Not about loving people as an adjective of people, but actually loving them. And it was obviously a healthy discussion, but I said that we can love people straight to hell. We can be so empathetic and so compassionate that it's no different than giving a donut to a 1,000-pound guy. That's a degree of love, but it's misguided. Just like we don't give drugs to addicts, that we shouldn't in our family. So we can empathize with this dude until he ends up in the worst place, whatever that place is, either on earth or afterlife. And so we're not going to play a role in that as a newspaper or as a media company or as Grit and Good News. We're simply not going to do it. Doesn't mean I want to pound on him. I think he's making a fool of himself. I think he's too close to home for us to sit around and ignore it. So we're not going to ignore it, and that's where we are.
You know, you create 90% of our topics, and that all works great. And when I've got an idea to do it, we've had good shows. And do you remember it was like about 10 days ago, I said, I'm so tired of the plural
Yeah.
pronouns, and we should do a show about it. And I said to myself, I really ought to um, talk to all the gay people in my family and just get their feeling on it, and more importantly, talk to the only trans person in my family. But it's kind of weird that I don't think ever when we have the plural pronoun, I don't think it's in a way of referencing or explaining gaiety. It really only applies to transism because
Right.
when you're gay, you're a guy or a girl,
Yeah.
but you're never both, and so it comes down to that.
Yeah.
That's such
It's
a
true.
small bunch. But
Yeah. We don't have a
I
pronoun issue in
and
homosexuality.
you know what? I ended up having a busy weekend, but I really did want to call my trans person in my life who goes by Joan and talk what what I really have the biggest trouble with gaiety is the same as with trans. It should be the most personal thing in your life.
Hmm.
It always has been a personal thing. And I don't want to know about other people's sex lives. And I think to all the gay people in my family, and I say, but have you ever asked me about my sex life? No.
Right. Yeah.
And because it's not an issue. It's not something that you need to know or I need to divulge. But when you get to trans, there's no hiding that. And I'm not saying that gaiety should be hidden, but the factor is a different factor
Yeah.
in the trans world. And where are the word trans? The old root to that means, like in transition, moving,
Change. Yeah.
transportation, change.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's a compendium, right? Where are you on that compendium when you say the day you come back, I am now a woman? I don't know. What have you done? I guess you started to take hormone therapy or whatever, but it's uh
Yeah.
it's a complicated thing. Now, here's another thing. But back to those um pronouns, because I was doing a little research about the whole trans world. 13% do D-trans. Um, but there's a couple built-in pronouns that could be adequately used because they do call MTF, which is
Male, female, trans.
male to female,
Oh,
and then there's
female to male.
FTM.
Yeah.
So those are three-letter acronyms,
Right.
just like his and her are three letters, and in a way, they are a more accurate pronoun for that person, because guess what? They're not a man and they're not a woman. They're an MTF or
Yeah, I mean,
an FTM.
yeah.
And so we could get rid of all the plural pronouns
hmm
by saying, okay, we're going to have this for transes, but everybody else is a singular pronoun. Thank you
Yeah.
very much.
As far as I'm concerned,
Right?
in our own little world, which is expanding here, my feet are firmly planted on the truth, and that is that there are two genders in this world, male and female. You either one or the other. And when we are faced with reporting on the story, talking about a story, looking at a video, watching a video like this, that is either a man or a woman. In by admission, it's a man. He's a man. And so when our reporting and our discussions, as far as I'm concerned, that's how we're going to address him. If people want to line up and protest and call me this and call us that because we're not woke enough, too dang bad. So there you have it. We're going to follow this story again. We'll have something not anything newer really. It's a little more in depth than our discussion here, but we'll have a fact-based story in tomorrow's Sun, and then we'll follow the story as we move along because it has gone viral. And this guy, what's happened now is this guy's it's the equivalent for me of somebody running into traffic and then wondering why it is they got hit. This guy puts up a video and then cries and cries and cries and whimpers and is a victim uh, because of the response to that video. If to your point, if you don't want to be a victim, if you don't want your feelings hurt, then transition in private. We don't all have to know about it. All right. So if you don't want to get hit by a car, don't walk into traffic.
I got you one more stat
Okay.
talking about the whole compendium and where you are step by step.
Yeah.
Okay. So the ultimate is not often achieved, would be the way I would put it with these numbers. The ultimate being what?
Yeah. We're
Go,
having
go, go,
upper, bottom, and top surgery.
going all the way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So the chest numbers range from 8%, some estimates, up to 25% of all trans. Okay. The genital, which would be chest and genital then, would be 4 to 13. So we're talking a small number going all the way.
Yeah.
And so even just those operation numbers are small. Look at all the others who were somewhere else on that road journey compendium, staying where I'm at this status of my somewhere in betweenness.
Yeah,
You know,
it's a yeah, you're welcome, Lisa. Thanks for weighing in. The I'm with you. It's roughly 1.6 million people are consider themselves to be transgender in this country of
say it
300
again.
1.6 million of 331 million. Yet every show, lots of radio programs, whatever, is talking about it. And was Zachary is going to get his attention. He asked for it. He's going to get it. So don't cry me a river when it isn't nice. That's just the way that works. All right.
Worldwide,
Worldwide. No.
1 in 130 are trans women.
Yeah.
1 in 100,000 are trans men.
Yeah.
And way more men go to women than women go to men. Way more.
Men go to women.
Men go to women.
Men go to women. Yeah.
Because what
Like
woman?
this guy.
Because what woman in the world would ever want to settle for being a cotton picking lowly man?
Yeah. God,
Right?
ain't that the truth?
Yeah.
All right. So there you go. We'll follow it. It's just it aggravates me, and I swear if it happens, I mean, Red Oak's close enough, and we're the Waxahachie Sun. We're not the Red Oak Sun, but we do cover Red Oak stuff. But if this happens in Waxahachie, I can assure everybody in the sound of our voice and the ability to read a column and the stories, we will be on it like a pack of dogs on a three-legged cat. All right, let's shift gears here to talk about something that is
Shall we shift?
gonna break loose pretty soon, and that is the JFK files.
The JFK
So
files.
I was 2 years old when I was living in Dallas when JFK was murdered. We call it assassination. Assassination. It was murder.
I was
same
7
thing.
on the playground.
There you go. So and now the Trump has released all declassified these files.
But there's a lot of redacted in the declassified,
There
right?
are. So, with the government, we'll never get the full story. But in this case, I wanted to just have a discussion about it, and I want to share very quickly. The Center for Politics uh, put out a document that says these are the 10 highlights from the JFK files as they stand now. And I
Yeah.
think you'll find these interesting. They don't necessarily focus in on
Yeah.
whether Oswald did it or didn't do it, although there is a video that's circulating now that says, as it was occurring, there's a video of people, and in that video is Oswald. So that'll go through some sort of verification process, but
In that video in the crowd instead of
yes,
in the spot.
instead of in the school book depository. So here's what the Center for
Oh, there's
Politics,
also videos of him in the depository, aren't there? There's
supposedly,
all kind of haven't we seen pictures of that?
I don't know. I don't think we've seen pictures of him in the depository. We've seen pictures of him. The first pictures we saw of him
Is
after
it
is in the jail,
as
in the
a
base.
shooter in the window? They haven't.
They may have seen a shooter in the window, but they can't determine it's Oswald. But here are the 10 highlights from the JFK files as
go.
it stands now. Number one, wide-scale monitoring of U.S. mail and mail tampering by the CIA. A CIA document dated January the 22nd, 1958, noted that CIA counterintelligence chief James Angleton reported 200 or 300 CIA employees are exclusively engaged in that.
There's a big
So,
Russia connection in that
yeah, it
too.
gets there.
Yeah.
So it does say that the CIA did monitor Oswald's mail, as we know from a letter sent by his mother to him in the Soviet Union when he defected. Number two, CIA matchmakers. The CIA used Robert Mayhew, a former FBI agent, to procure women for foreign dignitaries coming to the United States in hope of gathering intelligence information.
Is there a reason it's called the world's oldest profession?
Yeah, no,
No.
I mean, it's obvious. Number three, more information on the United States' role in the assassination of the former president of the Dominican Republic, Rafael Trujillo, on May the 30th, 1961. So this was 2 years and a few months earlier than Kennedy was assassinated. Trujillo, I'm not saying that the Spanish way, but was killed when he was ambushed on a road outside the Dominican capital. A document dated July the 2nd, 1975 suggests the CIA's role in providing weapons was found. Number four, JFK White House critical of the CIA after the Bay of Pigs disaster. Kennedy aide Arthur Schlesinger wrote a highly critical memo to JFK on June the 10th, 1961, taking the CIA to task for undermining the state, thereby undermining the State Department. That act, that criticism, according to this, if we went deeper, never left the CIA. They became extremely angry with John F. Kennedy. The CIA spied on the French and then took it even further. In April of '63, just 4 or 5 months before Kennedy was killed, the CIA placed an agent in the French intelligence agency, believing the Soviets had infiltrated the agency and were sending U.S. intelligence to the Soviets.
You know, it's historically been such a renegade division agency.
Yeah.
It's what do you expect in the spy world,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Poison sugar. This is number 6. This is interesting. The same memo about the
Poison
French
sugar.
says that the CIA injected a contaminating agent in Cuban sugar bound for the Soviet Union. The Center for Politics previously reported on the planning by the CIA of Operation Square Dance, which proposed biological warfare to destroy the Cuban economy by introducing these sugarcane plants. It was not known until now that the CIA had followed through with it. Number 7, 007-ish. There are countless examples from prior releases of the James Bond nature of intelligence gathering that were taking place. The latest is a memo to the CIA chief of political and psychological warfare, dated June 1953, on how the United States is attempting listen to this. This is all weird stuff that we've heard about all these years. All right. On how the U.S. is attempting to deliver radio signals across the world that will cause the listening audience to shift their radio dial to the U.S.'s nearby program and endeavoring to tune out the interference on its own home program.
And
Number
turn the
8,
grit and good news on a podcast instead.
yeah. Number 8, celebrated agent becomes Watergate criminal. 4-page memo dated August the 4th, 1966, honors then CIA officer James McCord for developing fluoroscopic blah, 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 blah. Ironically, McCord was later one of the men convicted in the Watergate criminal trial on 8 counts of conspiracy, burglary, and wiretapping. Number 9, more on CIA's Mexico operations, where in 1964, one of the principal agents in those operations was a priest, Catholic priest. And number 10, more fodder for ID theft. Finally, we continue to find scores of documents contain U.S. military and many others. So that was a lot in a short period of time. There's a lot more to come from this, but we're gonna finally, after what, how many years has it been now? 60 some odd years, 63, 62 years. We're gonna begin to see. It's gonna be like the Polaroid camera thing. We're a bit fuzzy now. It's gonna come in a greater dimension and clarity. So we'll let you know more as we know more. But there's 10 things.
But will we ever be
I doubt it. In the full no?
right?
Probably not. Anything else on Kennedy?
No, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
Oh, by the way, I do have something. If Kennedy were alive today, the Democrat Party wouldn't have a thing to do with him. That he would be treated just like his nephew is being treated by the Democrat Party.
Maybe he'd never let it get to this.
Sammy has, he
What
probably.
about that?
Sammy has a video, but we're not going to play it, Sam. I think we've said enough on that. All right, random thoughts for today. I'm going to just rattle through these puppies and so we stay on track. Elon Musk is getting closer to exposing deeply corrupt politicians. Now, that may go without saying, but what in an interview yesterday I saw where he said, look, we are finding out how it's almost money laundering, how money was given to non-government operations or organizations that then flowed back to politicians when they're an NGO, as they're called. They don't fall under the scrutiny of the federal government. So it's money laundering in its purest form. But we're going to find out more about these thugs, and we should. And I start with Nancy Pelosi and a
Get
lot
that,
more. Sound is cutting out. Maybe on me, huh? It's probably your hearing, Kennedy. Anyway, and so what was I talking about? That threw me off. Oh, so Elon Musk, he said yesterday, he and his group we are going to find out why, and it's far more than this, but why people in the government, namely congressmen and senators, are worth $20 million on a $175,000 salary. And we're going to find that out.
Yeah.
And I hope he does.
Yeah.
Sometimes
where are we going to get this?
we're going to get it from Doge.
Oh, okay.
Uh,
Well,
n-
did you know that Doge opened today the Department of External Revenue?
Good.
Have you ever
That's
thought
the
of
tariff revenue, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
we're called the Internal Revenue Service,
Yeah.
IRS. That's their whole job is bringing in revenue.
It's amazing.
Now we got
Yeah.
the external, and guess what? The hope is to get the external bigger than the internal someday.
Yeah. Yeah, for
So
sure.
could it ever be that way?
Well, I mean, it was.
I tell
It
you,
was
I tell you
before
what.
the 30s.
Then being a citizen of the U.S., that'd be extra special
Well,
again, wouldn't it?
Yeah, before
Yeah.
the 30s, we did not have income tax.
Yeah.
We had external revenue service.
Yeah.
Tariffs paid the
Yeah.
bill. We didn't have to pay taxes. Number 2 on my list, sometimes what God takes away from us is the blessing rather than what he gives us. I think that's exceptionally true. And number 3, it's rarely greener over there. It's rarely greener.
Although it always looks.
It looks greener,
Yeah, it
but
looks
it's
greener.
rarely greener.
Yep.
Sammy, remember that. It's never greener. There aren't greener pastures. It's a mirage, if you know what I mean. Some people will say, my life's so bad and it's so, that guy over there or my friends, it's so much better. Their pasture's greener
Yeah.
than mine. It's not.
Your wife's prettier.
Yeah, they're looking at your pasture saying the same thing.
Yeah.
Your job's
Number
better.
4, the insane behaviors we're witnessing are cries for help. I already mentioned that. It's To me, it's just a cry for help. And number 5, I'm not sure why, but I love boxing. I just do.
I took. I learned you a new word and you forgot to
Oh yeah,
use it.
wait, don't tell me.
Come on,
What's that word, Sammy? I don't know. What is it?
pugilism.
Yeah, pugilism,
When you
boxing.
box, you're a
Yeah, that is.
pugilist.
I need to use that word more often. I should have said I love pugilism.
I thought I learned you better.
If I said I love pugilism, everybody watching would have said, "What is he talking about?" But I do love boxing. Matter of fact, I saw a video yesterday. Tommy Hearns, Marvin Hagler,
They call him the Hitman.
and yeah, in
Yeah.
the '80s. Imagine him being called the Hitman today. They wouldn't let it happen. But man, that fight was vicious. Tommy Hearns, he was from Detroit.
The
Marvin
the
Hagler was just
the Detroit what?
mean
The Detroit
Detroit Hitman.
Hitman.
Yeah. So there's that. Those are my
There's that.
random thoughts. All right.
Yeah.
He said, what should happen to institutions that still allow biological men and biological women sports? I have the story here from the Maine, the state of Maine, which in
Yeah.
that, has defied Trump. There are things starting to happen to the state of Maine. They're going to lose funding. I want to let you answer, but let me just say this. The state of Maine, the people of Maine, the poll,
They were recently polled.
well, in a poll, 64% of Maine residents believe transgender athletes definitely should not or probably should not participate in girl and women's sports. Only 29% of Maine residents believe that transgender athletes probably should. The poll also showed that 56% of Maine Democrats believe that transgender athletes should be allowed to compete. I don't get why anybody on the planet would
Can we?
advocate that.
So the big number is 63,
64
64, 34,
of the state in the state of Maine
64,
want it
36.
to stop, and they've got a
Don't you?
governor.
It, I think that's a high number. I think if you went state by state, where do you think that falls? I think that's high.
Well, it is.
I mean,
Well, I mean, if
high
you
the
came
other
to,
way.
you mean you think there should be
I think it should be
fewer?
80.
Oh,
It should be
well,
80.
it'll be 80 in Texas
Well, I know in a
or
lot of
the
places.
South.
That's what I'm
Yeah,
saying. I think
but
that
if you go to California, if you go to New
that's a
Hampshire,
low number.
Vermont, those yeah, it's sadly low. Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's a majority, and so what this story is saying is that as a majority, people in
Mm-hmm.
Maine want this to stop, but this idiot governor won't stop it. Although the one of the state representatives, actually, I think the national representative for the state of Maine is now feuding with the governor because they're about to take a hit on funding and for education and other things. So,
So okay,
um,
the answer is what do you do? Well, it's such a multifaceted thing. There's public privates, there's public there's private schools at all levels up through colleges, right? And
mhm.
there's public schools, and there's different communities, and there's different states, and there's different counties,
Why not just
and I
make
mean,
what?
I don't see. It's easy to make federal laws, but if it involves manpower to enforce them, now we're back to what we're trying to not do with Doge.
Yeah,
We're trying to de-governmentize our
right.
life. So I don't know. It's easy to say that that's what it should be. No, it can't happen. But what's the implementation on that?
The implementation is
I don't know.
Trump signed an executive order saying no trans women can be in women's sports. Period.
Or else what? We slap your
Yeah, you lose funding.
we're rich. Okay.
You
So
lose federal
now
funding.
now we need the Department of losing funding for
Well,
slapping the wrist
the
for
funding seems to be working in terms of getting people to start listening. It's the same thing was going to happen with DEI.
yeah.
So, but in this case, I just don't understand anyone and people like AOC and this Megan
Oh
Rapinoe,
gosh,
the
yes.
soccer chick,
Gosh, yes.
why they are advocating this. It makes no sense to me.
How hollow must the victory feel for the pole vaulter in Maine
Yeah,
when you couldn't compete in the boys, and then you switch over, and where are you on that switch? Where are you on that 1 to 100?
right.
And guess what, dude? If you're about 2% along, meaning you're taking hormones, and now your breasts hurt because they're starting to bud, because I know what happened to me
Yeah.
when I had that for prostate cancer. So where are you on that compendium I've never used that
You've
word
used
4
it like a
times,
lot. Yeah.
but you know what?
I'm impressed.
It applies, right? Am I
Yeah.
using it right?
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
so.
okay, it's like a scale,
Yeah.
okay?
Spectrum.
Spectrum. Where are you?
Yeah.
You know
Well,
what?
it's like
I don't want to be worked up and mad.
well, don't get
But
I mean, you can get worked up and mad just I mean, but you can come down real quick too.
I can, but
But you know, it's like the guy
it's
and I don't know
sad.
what state was in a 400-meter race, a transgender dude
What happened?
won by 10 seconds. Won by 10 seconds.
That's a
It takes
bunch
a
of yeah.
and that's I don't know what percent of the time it takes to run the whole race, but I mean, and so
Where's he on that
what
scale?
does he do when he gets to when he crosses the line? Does his proud dad run up to him and hug him and have a big party and celebrate his? I mean, it's embarrassing to me, and I'm not going there. It's ridiculous, and anybody that's advocating for it is going to be on the opposite end of what I might have to say.
And
Not that that matters, but
when you go home and you get in the shower,
you're a man.
you're washing and drying
Yeah.
private man stuff.
It's ridiculous. Connected to that is the story I have to tell you before we move on to Jeff's poem. Do you have a poem today?
Yeah. It's
Um,
last week's, remember?
you can just read it. But let me listen to this story. You're gonna think I'm lying to you, but listen to this story. Headline: Toddler kicked out of nursery school for being transphobic. Toddler, 3 to 4 years old. They didn't have the exact age, but 3 to 4 years old in England. The child was kicked out of an unnamed school nursery for being transphobic. The Telegraph
He's
reported
afraid of
Monday.
trans. Poor little boy's
It
afraid
doesn't
of
say. They didn't give
transes.
the details of that.
Poor little boy's afraid of transes. Oh my gosh.
Well, yeah, but
What's wrong with
how
that?
do you even know at 3 or 4 what a trans person is? And is he
It
talking about another kid or
he's,
a parent or
it's
teacher?
scary stuff.
Yeah,
It's
I mean, I want to know the details because
yeah.
this is a
Wow.
3 or 4 year old kid that loves, you know, Shrek or whatever else they like.
122.
It's an incredible thing, but there's a story right there, and it's on the news. We will have more about it as we learn more about it. But to kick out a 3 or 4 year old kid out of school for being supposedly transphobic, I mean, we've reached a new level of nutty. All right,
Yeah, oh gosh. And we're still gonna continue to be nutty
all right,
because we're gonna talk about
a nutty column. I
bad
mean, a
kid
nutty
behavior.
poetry.
Bad kid behavior.
All right, lay it on us.
So I chose this poem because this weekend I had guys in from out of town. We played golf 3 times and we played at Stevens Park up in Oak Cliff in the Kessler Park area.
Mhm.
And my first book ever, the back cover,
Yeah.
which Sam is pulling up. You got it up yet? Sam's gonna pull it up. And there's a piece of public art out in the park, and we live 2 houses away on a dead end. It's
Mhm.
a gorgeous long parkway, and it goes down up through the golf course and stuff. And this this is
Is it a
showing
path?
it's a path,
Oh, that's
and
that
this is a
path.
piece of art that's showing the creek that's running behind my house
Oh,
and through the
cool.
golf course. And I come out there one day. You got it up? Now look at this, people. This picture on the left. I come out there one day, and this is what I look at. This has been scribbled with chalk
I
all
see it.
over by kids.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
And then I went out with a bucket of water and a brush
And you clean it off.
and I cleaned it out. And I sat down and I wrote this poem and I cut it out and I put it on a little sign with neon pink in the background for everybody to read
That's good.
when they walk by.
All right, let's hear it.
And it's
That's
called
that's a good way of doing it.
Clueless in the Park. It's on 122, the big book. It's on page 30, 39 in this book. October 6th, 2022. Hey there, parents, please get a clue. Your lax parenting is making me blue. I'm not blaming the kids. Yes, the kids did what they did. By example, you must show the tough meaning of no.
No.
You must teach a lot to turn out a good cop. The sidewalk is the place for using their chalk. Your kid is in need of a big little talk. Say, don't scribble on public art. This is surely a nice start. The park is here for all to enjoy. It's not just some little kid's toy. While you sit on the couch, quiet as a mouse, do they draw on the walls back at your house? Well, I cleaned up the mess that your darlings have made for this troublesome task. I never got paid. While I was at it, I swept up all the stones. Please tell them to leave them alone. They were all over the cotton picket sidewalk.
Mhm.
Now it's clear for nice folks to walk, the best looking part of this block. I write this because I care. Vandalizing art is surely not fair. Give your kids a chance to succeed. If you do, you can. Indeed.
Mhm.
Yes, parents, it's time to raise the bar, or your sweet little kid won't go very far.
Very good. Yeah, that's good. I really like that.
Thank you.
All right, so we've got 4 minutes, so we got to hurry through our today in history. And did you do it this morning? Because I know
Of
you've had
course
your
I did
friends.
it.
All
Of
right,
course I did it.
all right,
7 and 3. Thanks God to one double.
all right.
Here we go.
Lay it on us.
Adolf Hitler was sentenced to five. Oh, there's a bonus available on this one, and if you don't get it,
Oh my god.
oh my gosh, Sam won't get it.
I don't remember.
Adolf Hitler was sentenced to 5 years in prison for his role in the beer hall putsch in Munich. Hitler would later serve just 9 months of the sentence, during which he completed the first volume of his famous book.
Oh,
His-
mine,
You're halfway there.
yeah, mine cough,
Say it again.
mine cough. Yeah,
I'm giving it to you.
thank you.
Mein Kampf.
Yeah, there you go.
Kamph. And that was the beginning of his rantings of what he was going to be about.
And so now I got to remember.
So this is when he was sentenced to 5 years in prison. He got in this big old beer hall brouhaha deal.
Yeah,
And
I don't think I'm right here, but I'm going to say 1941.
1936.
24.
Yeah, I knew.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm.
So I went 33. I got it wrong, but I got the
Mine could,
bonus.
yeah.
Okay.
Thank you,
American
Chuck.
forces launched the amphibious invasion of Okinawa during World War II. U.S. forces succeeded in capturing the Japanese island on June 22nd, after a battle in which more than 240,000 people died, including as many as 150,000 Okinawan civilians.
1944.
I was gonna say 1944, but I'll say 43.
And 44 was my guess, and it was 45, and we didn't get our bonus.
All right.
Here we go. A magnitude 8.6 earthquake centered near Alaska's Aleutian Islands, which are almost to Russia. And it's where
Mhm.
my dad was stationed
Yeah.
in the Air Force with a headset, intercepting Russian radio transmissions and transcribing them for
Wow.
security.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Triggered a tsunami that pounded the Hawaiian Islands with waves of up to 55 feet tall, killing 159.
1959.
1957.
1946.
Oh,
All right.
President Richard M. Nixon signed a measure banning cigarette advertising on radio and television. And I'm going to give you a bonus that wasn't in here because I blurted this out. And Rita said, "How did you know that? Do you remember who was the Surgeon General?" C. Edward Coop.
Oh, I remember
Remember?
Coop, but I didn't. I
C.
wouldn't
Edward
remember
Coop,
that. Yeah.
Surgeon General. Fan spoken.
what was the
Yeah.
last date?
Last date was 46. Richard
70,
Nixon,
72.
72.
73.
70 even.
Yeah.
I got the bone eye. Thank you.
Awesome.
Apple Computer was founded by Steve Jobs, Steve Wozniak, and Ronald Wayne.
1989.
1988.
I was in the 80s also. We were all wrong.
Was it
82.
82.
Oh,
Oh, it
Actually,
went.
I got it.
I got it too. What'd you get, Sam?
I
What'd you
got
say?
it.
Yeah.
88.
Okay.
I don't remember this at all. I should remember if it happened more recently than 82. My goodness. Singer Marvin Gaye was shot and killed by his father after Gaye intervened in an argument between his parents at their home.
Yeah. You don't remember that? Yeah.
No, I don't remember that.
Good answer, Chuck.
I'm gonna
Answer.
say 2003.
No. That would have been 1994.
84.
Oh.
I guessed my
Wow.
way to an answer, but didn't know it. Here we
Yeah.
go. The Netherlands
Good job,
became the
Terry.
first country in the world to legalize same-sex marriage. The highly liberal.
Is that the
Netherlands.
last one?
That is the last one.
2015.
18.
A re.
Oh.
Oh wow.
That ain't good.
I only got 3 right.
I
So
got 4 right with the bonus.
All right.
All right,
We're out
very
of
good.
time. You get your
So
meme?
it is now
You get your
1:01.
meme.
We appreciate you being here. Sorry we were a little bit late today. We won't be late anymore.
No meme.
Oh, well, yeah, I want to close with this meme. Indulge me because this meme is not something I'm going to show you. I want something for you to watch. This is really a cool thing. I think it puts in perspective what young athletes go through. So we'll close after this. One sec. Let's go, Sam.
It's really not about me. I don't care about getting any of the glory. I don't care about getting any of the accolades, nothing like that. I just care about, really shining light on this guy right here. Shining light on these two right here. Because I see him put in so much work. I've seen Coach Barnes be the most consistent person every time. Even though we fight, we get into it. It just seems like we don't want to talk to each other anymore. But we go right back to practice. We get right back to coaching me like he loves to coach me. He knows how much I put in his game. But I wanted to get there for him. I really wanted people to realize how good of a coach he is. Sometimes communication can be off sometimes, between him and the players, and, that happens. But, man, I wanted to get there for him. I wanted to get there for ball fans, man. I wanted them to have something that they could be proud of.
Amazing. One last thing. Tomorrow, my column is about the difference between calling somebody Hitler and Sleepy Joe, because there is a difference. People will enjoy it. So with that.
And that means on Thursday, I will be reading my epic poem, Nicknames.
Good. Yeah. Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
All right. It's all yours, Jeff.
Alrighty. Well, let's always remember, don't write a check you cannot cash. Boom.